Minasan, konnichiwa, Regan desu. Hey everyone, Regan here. It's morning time, so I've just woken up and I've had plenty of sleep, so I'm feeling a lot better than what you would have seen in my last video. Which is why today I think I can do a lot more justice for talking about my first experience in English teaching. Okay, so a little bit of a background first, for those of you who haven't seen my previous videos. I'm 24, Australian, I'm on a working holiday visa. I've got a job as a part-time English teacher which I set up through gaijinpot.com before I arrived here. I haven't got a degree, I haven't taught English before, and I don't speak very good Japanese. But I do have a Japanese girlfriend who's got me out of a lot of trouble so far, and whose advice I'll be passing on through these videos as well. Okay, so straight into the English teaching, my first experiences. I work in a Juku school, which is an after-school school for kids where they go on for further study, and I do the English teaching classes there. So I start at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the afternoon and run through till about 9 o'clock at night, 9 or 10 o'clock at night when I finish, and I get an hour's break in between there. Okay, I flew in on Wednesday night into Japan, and I started work on Friday, my first official sort of shift. But I asked if I could go visit on the Thursday because I'm in a bit of a sticky situation, or I have been. I bought my flights and did all my working holiday visa, got it set up before I actually applied for the job. So I had a set date that I was arriving in Japan. And then when I applied for the job and got hired, the previous instructor who I'm taking on from leaves in less than a week. So I've only got 1 week with him before I take over the class full time. So I only have limited amount of time that I can learn from him, and because I'm the only English instructor in the school, it makes it hard to learn from other teachers or get advice and work the system. I need to learn everything I can in this next week. First impressions. My big surprise is I pretty much only teach children. I thought I would have more of a range, because it's sort of 1 o'clock till 9 or 10. I thought I would have more adults later in the evening, and I don't. I don't think I teach any adults whatsoever. I think the oldest I have are about 17, 18, but most kids are between, the youngest I have is 2, and most kids are between, say, 6 and 11 or 6 and 14. Having said that, the kids are so much fun. So on Thursday I got to go in and assist teaching because I was just visiting, but I got to stand in with the current teacher, and he let me take a couple of the games and things like that, and I absolutely loved it. It was great fun. Some advice for working with kids, and I was warned. A big part of my interview process when I had my Skype interview from Australia and they were to get the job, they kept asking me whether I'd be okay teaching kids and whether I'd be okay being pushed and pulled and tackled and have them fight me and things like that. And they do. So impression number 1, well, if you're a male teacher at least, the boys will want to fight you. In their eyes, you're not a teacher, you are just a way that they can test their strength. In one lesson, I dropped down to my knees, so I was the same height as them, and instantly that made me Spider-Man, which was fun because, well, I got to be Spider-Man, but it was pretty much open rein on tackling me and fighting and all that sort of stuff. Impression number 2 was, with anything, the more prepared you can be, the better. I went in the Thursday because I wanted to get there a day early and learn as much as I could from the previous instructor, and it is by far the best thing I did. I had my first classes on Friday where I was teaching by myself. I had 3 Japanese teachers assisting me and helping with the CD players and setting things up, and we did a run through 2 hours before my first classes. But on Thursday I got to meet up with the native speaker teaching, and I got to get a feel for what the classes were like, but also he gave me advice on how to set up the lessons, games to play. He gave me lots of backups and things like that, and just having that experience or ability to have things prepared made it go a lot smoother. And it would have gone a lot smoother had I not have left the pack with all the lesson plans, my timetable, information on how to get to the school or the classes that I was going to the next day, names of students, and also all the games and activities and lesson plans for the next day at the school when I left. It was possibly the worst impression I could have given on my first day. I just left everything behind. So they'd written out all this information on how to do everything, and I had the plans, and I basically got home and had none of it. And it was too far away to go back. It was 10 o'clock at night, so I couldn't get it. My first classes were the next day, so really I had to wing a lot of it. It was a bad situation. I have failed at a lot of things in Japan. If you've seen my previous video, I've already lost my passport, I forgot where I lived, and now I, left all my lesson plans. I didn't have a phone number. I rocked up an hour early to a real estate interview. I'm just the worst person for Japan. Like for a country, and especially with work and everything that is so strict on doing things properly and being professional, I've just done it all wrong. Impression number 3. Don't worry. You are the native speaker. You're the only native speaker there. And what I mean by that is you can get away with little mistakes. So, it was my first. I had the 3 classes on my first day, and they were my first ones. I was the only English teacher in the room, so I didn't have the other native speaker with me that day. But although it was a new experience and really uncomfortable, not really uncomfortable, but different, even the little mistakes I made, they were okay. I was able to pick them up myself, just little things like muddling up exercises and things like that. But the great thing about it is if you make a mistake, they're not going to pick it up straight away. So you can quickly fix it. The worst thing you can do, and which I had a couple of these moments in my classes on Friday, was when you pause and you make it feel awkward. So if you make a mistake talking, or you muddle up an activity or something like that, you can fix it a lot cleaner if you just go along with it and pretend like it is meant to be part of the plan. The worst thing you can do is worry about it being wrong. There were a couple of times where we had the awkward situation where the CD wasn't in and it was just a long pause. So don't be worried about making mistakes, just keep rolling on. That was a big thing that I learned on Friday. And as soon as I paused, you can see it on the kids' faces. They're looking at you for direction. You're supposed to be instructing it. As soon as you look like you don't know what you're doing, they'll lose interest. But if you make mistakes, fix them, and look like you do know what you're doing, no problem. Fake it till you make it. Impression number 4 is my accent. I wasn't expecting. I know a lot of Japanese want to learn American English and the American pronunciation, and so we pronounce Z. The Americans say Z, we say Z. And the head of the school, I sort of knew this, but he said, when we pronounce weekdays, Aussies usually say, Monday, Tuesday, where Americans say Monday. I don't know, but apparently my pronunciation of day is weird. And one of the other teachers picked up. I can't do accents, so I can't really tell the difference right now, but A and I, when Aussies say A, I think they tried to get me to say it A. Anyway, in the class, it happened in all 3 of my classes. We played a game where we threw all the letters, so we had letter cards, put them on the ground, and the kids I would call out the letter, and the kids had to find the letter. And I would always start with A, and they would always pick up I. And so the teacher before the class had told me this. She said, when I said A, B, C, she said, oh no, pronounce it A instead of A. And she said it sounds too much like I, which I had no idea about. Until when I did the classes, all 3 classes we played that game, every time I called out the letter A, all of the kids ran and picked up I. So that's something I've picked up. I'm not going to hide my accent, but I know a lot of the kids wanting to learn American English, if that's the way that they want to do it. There's no exact right or wrong way to learn English, but it's probably good to be aware that they may not understand you. So I'm definitely not saying, change your accent or anything like that. But for me, it definitely helped to practice the American pronunciation so that if they did have trouble understanding what I was saying, I could just switch over. Except that I can't do an American accent, so I didn't switch over. And they all grabbed I instead of A. Alright, so that's a wrap up of my first impressions. I love all the people I'm working with. They've been super friendly, especially given the situation of how rushed it is to get me in here, as well as just how much of a terrible person that I've been, forgetting things, losing stuff, not having a phone number, unable to be contacted, not knowing how to iron my shirt for my first day of school. You know, they're doing well to put up with me so far. Teaching the kids is great. All of the kids are fantastic, and my fight skills are developing. I'm Spider-Man. Okay, so I hoped I answered a few of the questions in the comments. One, I just saw that I didn't. Someone asked me how long it takes for me to commute to work, and I think by train, maybe door to door, about 40 minutes. But that's sort of where I'm living. I'm moving a little bit closer to the school soon, but I'm staying with my girlfriend at the moment. So yeah, door to door about 40 minutes. I spend maybe 25-30 minutes of that on the train. The walk from each train station is maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I've been rocking up early to the schools, especially my first couple of days being here, because how on time Japanese people are. That's why I've been rocking up early to a lot of places, because I'm so afraid of being late, and I just don't know the train system yet. But the train system here is great, so you won't be late. If you are, it's your fault. Okay, I hope that's given some insight on what it's like to be an English teacher in Japan for the first time. Like I've said before, if you have any questions or want me to answer anything or make future videos on anything in particular, just let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, arigatou gozaimashita. Ja, mata ne. I'm gonna go practice my American accent. A, B, C.